friends, welcome back to my channel. I decided to make another video. New background, cause new Christmas. What? Okay, listen. I'm trying to start a new series called I Only Read My Friend's Books for a Month. And originally this was gonna be filmed so long ago. And I even like filmed an intro for it way back in April, May, June, I forget. And then I just didn't do the series because I got nervous. I don't know. It wasn't even gonna be a series actually to start. It was just gonna be one video. And I asked a lot of people for their favorite book recommendations. And then I was gonna read them all literally for a month. But it was too much. It would have been too many people for a video and it would have been a really boring month based on the books that I got. Sorry, friends. You have some unexpected favorites and I don't know what to do with what you've given me. So instead, it's gonna be a series, as I said. I'm going to split up the books that I was given into multiple videos. That's what a series is. Why am I over-explaining? Today, we're gonna be talking about 2 books. And in the next video, we're only gonna be talking about 1 book. At some point, I'm gonna ask you guys for your favorite book recommendations. Maybe we'll put it out on Instagram. Maybe we'll do family members. I don't know, we'll just see. We're just having fun. The 2 books I'm talking about today were given to me by Sarah and Kaitie. You've seen both of them before in some of my videos. They are 2 of my very bestest friends in the world. And I had certain expectations for Sarah and Kaitie. If you don't know, Kaitie is a fellow bookstagrammer. She's Romance She Read on Instagram, and as the name suggests, she reads a lot of romance. But she also does read a lot of fantasy, and she branches out into other things, and I respect her book choices. And while Sarah's not the biggest reader, she is definitely a gamer and Twitch streamer. So I also had some expectations from her because in the past she has told me what her favorite book is. So I thought I was gonna be reading that, but she is a liar. I was certain that these 2 were safe choices for the first video because to my knowledge, I was going to be reading The Witcher, which is Sarah's favorite, and A Court of Thorns and Roses, which is Kaitie's favorite. But apparently you shouldn't make assumptions about your friends because the books you think are their favorites are not their favorites at all. And then they give you some absolute wild card nonsense. So without further ado, the books that I read this month recommended to me by my best friends in the world were Magic Bites by Alana Andrews and The Fantastical Town of Finkel by Scott Graham and Chris Francis. Their first names aren't even on this book, so I forget if that's true. What the heck? This took a turn that I was not expecting. First, let's talk about Sarah's favorite book, Fantastical Town of Finkel. So if you haven't guessed it already, this is a children's book. And there's nothing wrong with having a children's book as your absolute favorite. A lot of my favorite books, like top 10, probably include children's books. Definitely include children's books. So the basic premise of this book is that there's a town called Finkel, and it's a place where anything can happen and often does. It's located north of someplace, south of nothing, and in the middle of nowhere. This is essentially a collection of short stories. It's broken down into chapters, where each chapter is this kid, Eric, telling his green gorilla friend a story from the town of Finkel. But it is just a bunch of short stories put together in a book. I originally had absolutely no idea what I was getting into with this one. Like, cause on the back it's like, children will love reading about hilarious characters including Poopy Patinsky, Barf Barfoni, and Bobby Bubblebutt as they bravely face bullies and find the true meaning of friendship. I'm like, Sarah, what the frick is this? What are you doing? But then I started to read it and something unlocked in my brain and it sent me down a rabbit hole of investigation. We did some Nancy Drew buffoonery with this. I started to read the first story in here, which is called No Rule Day. And I was like, this is so familiar. There's something about Barney bathing suit shorts and some of the illustrations, because there's illustrations in here. Were like, I've read this before. And I looked at it and I was like, okay, this cover is hand drawn, clearly. There's no publisher. And look at this, there's a Canadian flag. I live in Canada, if you don't know. I flipped it open and it's published by Kids for Kids Productions in Waterdown, Ontario, which is very close to where I live now. But there's nothing else. It's just copyright belongs to Kids for Kids Leadership Program. But these illustrations are so familiar. I've seen these before. So I did more thinking, more investigating. One thing you need to know is that Sarah and I met when we were 7 years old. We went to the same school, we've always been in the same classes. And when I looked at the publication date of this, it's September 2001, when Sarah and I were in the 1st grade. And then I have this like fever dream memory of an anti-bullying campaign that came to our school. It must have been Kids for Kids leadership program, but this anti-bullying campaign came to our school and they read this book to us, at least the first story, No Rule Day. They read it to us and they must have given out copies because this book does not exist. I've looked it up. It doesn't exist. It has like 1 review on Amazon. These people don't exist. So Sarah's favorite book is a book that was read to us when we were in the 1st grade at our local small town elementary school to teach us about anti-bullying. I know that this might not be like the most exciting story for you, the viewer, but for me, like this just changed my world. Having Sarah pick the most random book and then realizing that I've read it before when I was 7 years old, and it's a book that nobody else has ever heard of. Like there's no way, if you didn't go to our school or an elementary school in the tiny region that we grew up in, you've never heard of this book. Anyways, I did read a couple more of the stories in here, and yeah, the purpose of all of the stories is anti-bullying and respecting others, and it's really fun. They are so silly and just kind of nostalgic and adorable and gross because they're for children and kids are gross. Sarah loaned me this, like I said, in April or something, so it's been a while that I've had this in my house, and every once in a while she messages me and she's like, hey, can I have my book back? And I'm like, you will, I just need to film my video. But the reason she wants it back so badly is because she's gonna give it to her children one day. And I think that's really sweet because this is a really just adorable book. And I'm glad that I was able to rediscover it. I don't know if it's something that I'm gonna read to my kids one day because truly I just don't love the level of grossness that's in these stories. All of the main characters are little boys. Like this very much feels like it was written by some boys for little boys to learn not to bully. And I'm gonna say boys are gross, but like, boys are gross. So Sarah, thank you for loaning me this. I promise you're getting it back next time I see you. This is very sweet and adorable, and I think it's great that it's your favorite book. And I'm glad that you gave me this instead of The Witcher, because I've read some of The Witcher and I knew what I would have been getting into, but this just made me happy. So, thank you. Okay, let's talk about Kaitie's freaking book that she gave me. I don't think she watches my videos, so she's not even gonna see this. She's not gonna see me trash talk her favorite book. Okay, so I've known Kaitie for about 10 years. I've known her as long as I've known my husband Ryan because Ryan and Kaitie grew up together. Kaitie is married to Ryan's best friend Mitchell. It's a long story, but Kaitie and I used to be mortal enemies. But now we're best friends. I was her maid of honor. It's great. Knowing Kaitie for as long as I have, I really thought she was gonna give me ACOTAR. Everywhere we go, if there's something ACOTAR themed, she buys it. And just like, she's been trying to get me to read it for so long. My copy of A Court of Thorns and Roses is hers. She owned multiple copies and she gave me one to try to trick me into reading the series, and I haven't done it yet. So I thought she was gonna tell me to read ACOTAR, and I prepared myself mentally and I was kind of excited. But then she gave me Magic Bites by Alana Andrews. This is the first book in the Kate Daniels series. Her edition includes a prequel story that I did not read and bonus material, which is actually kind of interesting. We'll get to that. At first glance, for some reason, this reminds me of the Narnia book covers. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. It's the lion. And I thought that this was a vampire book because of the word bites, and it just like, it would make sense for it to be a vampire book. But once I started reading it, despite the fact that a vampire shows up on the second page, it's not a vampire book, it's supernatural. This is literally the TV show Supernatural, but for girls. I don't know why I'm gendering these books so specifically. Who am I? What am I doing? I know there are a lot of things that I could compare to this, like other monster hunting books and shows, but I'm not familiar with those because that's not my genre. But I have seen Supernatural, and reading this just really reminded me of Supernatural completely. Kate Daniels is essentially part of a monster hunting guild, and she gets called out to do specific jobs. A lot of them seem to do with shapeshifters and vampires, at least in the first book. What I can tell you about this book is that it's better than I thought it would be. I admit it, Kaitie. It's better than I expected, but it was definitely written in 2007, and I don't know if that's a pro or a con, it's just a fact. It was written in 2007. There's actually a lot of humor in this book that I thought was pretty good. It's very dry, stupid humor. Like, I felt like I was reading an early 2000s TV show that's taking itself really seriously, but you're not taking it seriously. The first book in the series is very much a lead up to like world building, describing different factions, learning about the different monsters, learning a little bit about Kate Daniels' history with different characters that appear throughout the book. And it all takes place in Atlanta, of course. Overall, I enjoyed it. I'm not continuing the series. I'm sorry, Kaitie. It's just not gonna happen. But I can see why it's her favorite book. This feels like a guilty pleasure kind of book, and I accept that. I flipped through the bonus content at the end, and there's a faction quiz. So you can figure out your place in Kate's Atlanta. Laws must be obeyed. A, as long as they don't conflict with the higher purpose. B, as long as they don't endanger your people. C, as long as they don't interfere with profits. D, as long as they don't conflict with the natural course of things. E, always. F, as long as they don't get you into hot water with the cops. Laws must be obeyed. All of these are so weird. I think my answer is F. As long as they don't get you into hot water with the cops. I know that sounds bad, but like, not all laws are like, never mind. You know what? I'm just gonna write down my answer. I'm just writing down my answer, don't worry about it. Question 2. You see a man breaking into your favorite mom and pop store in your neighborhood. You A, pull out your sword, go over and ask him what he's doing. B, sneak up behind him and punch him in the face. I'd like approach him from behind and then like reach around, punch him in the face. C, get your flunky to go over and stab him. No, we're not committing murder. D, watch him do his dirty deed, find out where he lives and poison him a week later for breaking and entering. E, pull out your gun and yell at him to get down on the ground before you blow his brains out. No. F, walk away. It doesn't concern you one way or another. I'm gonna have to go with the sword option because I get to have a sword. The most important factor in deciding whether you take a job is, will it benefit the majority of people? Will it benefit your family? Does it hold scientific value? And is it intellectually stimulating? What are its consequences? Is it legal? Does it pay well? Like, are we talking about like a part-time job, minimum wage in my world, or a monster hunting job in this world? I think my answer is either scientific value and intellectually stimulating, or paying well. I'm gonna go with intellectually stimulating. That's important to me in real life. You're throwing a party. You provide A, good food, good liquor, nothing fancy, moderation is encouraged. A feast, lots of food, lots of beer and wine, no hard liquor. Expensive food, expensive wine, only the best will do. A chance to drink and celebrate being yourself. Hard liquor and barbecue. A room. This party is strictly B.O.B. Bring your own booze. B.O.B. Bring own booze. Bob. Good food, good liquor, nothing fancy, moderation is encouraged. That's A, by the way. The perfect pet is a mastiff, loyal and devoted. A mutt, a cat, a rat. As long as it has fur, it's all good. That doesn't matter to me. A snake, clean. They're not clean. Sleek, calculating, and deadly. That gives snakes a bad rap. Don't do that. A bird, free, independent, with a clear view of the whole picture from above. Okay, well, if it's a pet bird, it's not, none of that is true. A German Shepherd, it obeys orders, it tracks people, and it protects you. I have a German Shepherd in real life, and he does none of those things. He's an idiot. A horse, you have to have one to get around, so at least the damn creature is useful. What the heck is going on in this book? I'm gonna go with German Shepherd, because that's my currently existing dog. I would have gone with horse, but I didn't like their description of it. Your favorite computer game genre, okay, 2007, is role-playing. Being savior of the world is always a good thing. Fighting and adventure, nothing better than fast reflexes, agile characters, and triple kicking your opponent's head off his shoulders. Building sims, no, I'm not even gonna read the description. I hate building sims. Puzzles. I already know that's my answer. There's a pattern in all things. You just have to trust your intuition to find it. Yes. The last answers are first-person shooter, blow heads off enemies with high-powered rifle. If your buddy can play with you, it's even better. MMORPG, life is about grinding and getting better gear. Kill X amount of enemies, get X amount of money. Simple and profitable. No, the answer is puzzles. D. There's a lot more questions, by the way. Bear with me. The most useful subject in school is history. Probably not. Learn from yesterday's mistakes to ensure survival tomorrow. Civics, without politics, civilization, and social interaction, people are just animals. No. Chemistry, genetics, and anatomy. A human body is a fascinating thing. Philosophy, biology, and ecology. We only have one planet, might as well find our place in it. PE and team sports. The world is a tough place. Might as well learn how to act together according to the rules of the game. Basic math. No, not advanced math, just basic math. You have to get to know how much change you ought to get back when you give somebody $20 to buy ammo. This is so silly. It's either chemistry, genetics, and anatomy, or philosophy, biology, and ecology. I was thinking that C, chemistry, genetics, and anatomy would help you be like a doctor, like a lifesaver. But I think that biology, you know, you could spin that to help you with that as well. So I'm going with D. Your car is 4 wheels and a motor. As long as it gets you from point A to point B on time, does it really matter what it looks like? A Jeep or a Land Rover. Functional, you can load a bunch of people in it and it goes anywhere. A black SUV. Not gaudy, but powerful and stylish. My 2 legs, I prefer to walk. A Ford Mustang. A good solid muscle car. Goes fast. A Hummer. Armored. It tells people 2 things. 1, the owner is a badass. And 2, if you're going to shoot at it, there is a whole lot of steel between you and the driver, so you better start running. My actual car is a SUV. It's not black, but it is an SUV, so I think that's my answer. Oh, that was the last question. Wait, what letter? What letter did I just get? Count the letters you wrote down, and then if you answered mostly whatever, that's what you got. If you answered mostly C, you're a member of the people. You pilot undead for a living and believe that most problems can be resolved through application of reason, money, or a vampire. You believe in the pursuit of academic excellence as long as it doesn't conflict with your financial well-being. You like the finer things in life, and you feel that those who work hard should be able to show off the fruits of their labors. I do actually feel that way. Not the vampire part, because they're not real, but yeah, I accept that answer. Sure, I'm a member of the people. Capital P, because of the book. I hope you guys took the quiz along with me. I'll post the results down below so you can know what faction you're part of. And if you did take the quiz, let me know what you are, because I'm curious now. Well, that was what I read in November. Is this a wrap up? No, because I read other books too. That was only reading my friends' favorite books for a month. Look, Kaitie and Sarah threw me for a loop, but I'm glad I read those books because I feel like I got to know my friends better. The next installment in this series is going to be Ryan's favorite book. So get ready for some Brandon Sanderson, a very different vibe than the books I talked about today. Before I go, don't forget to like and subscribe and ring the bell icon so you know when I upload new videos. I upload 2 days a week. I love you guys. Goodbye.